Hey there, it's Katie Fitzes here from Free Spirit Girl, and on today's episode we're talking about fear. When you understand fear and what it really is and where it comes from, you have the ability to be conscious when it comes up and to stop it from holding you back from achieving the things that you really want to do in your life. So this week's video was inspired by my amazing and awesome 84-year-old grandma, Patsy.
Hello, I'm Patricia Howell and I'm 84.
She just got back from a holiday overseas in Canada. She went and she saw glaciers, she saw beautiful lakes, she saw bears and all these different kinds of things. And on the last day, she had the option to, with her tour group, go up Whistler Mountain and zip line all the way down.
I said, yes, I'll do it. And they took us up to the top of the mountain at Whistler in Canada.
So she went up the mountain, all the way up the mountain. It took them about 3 hours to get up the top of the mountain.
And on the way up, I started to get really fearful and I said, I'm sorry, but I won't be able to go. There were 7 of us. I said, I'm sorry, I won't be able to do it. I'm too frightened. I was so frightened, I couldn't get my breath. I was shaking. I have never been so frightened in my life.
And she said within her, fear came up. She was paralyzed by fear. And she started going through her head, what could go wrong. And she was so anxious, she was so unsure, and she was so nervous that she thought to herself, I don't think that I can do it.
And they said, well, just come up to the top and you can watch the others take off. So I got up to the top and I watched them all going and I suddenly said, I've got to do it now. If I don't do it now, I'll never do it.
And she said at 84 years old that she would not let fear hold her back, so she decided to go for it. She quickly stepped forward and
I said, all right, I'll go. So they hooked me onto the line and I zipped across the valley, about 80 kilometres an hour, right across through the treetops. And when I'd finished, I was so elated to think I'd actually driven through that fear.
She said it was the most amazing and incredible experience that she's ever had.
I was euphoric. The first photograph they took of me taking off, I had my mouth open in fear. I was hanging onto the wire like grim death. And when I'd finished, I had my hands out, my arms right out, and I was going woohoo. Got to the end and I felt fantastic to think that I'd actually done it and conquered it.
Fear is a major obstacle in every single one of our lives. It holds us back from really living the life of our dreams. And the craziest thing is that fear isn't actually real. It's something that we create in our head that we think is going to keep us safe. And sometimes it does. But a lot of the time it holds us back from truly stepping into our greatness. So what is fear? Fear is a basic human instinct, an emotion that's brought on by a certain trigger. That trigger is most often the thoughts that we think. Fear is just a false experience appearing real. It's a picture that we create in our head that we go over and over and over of how things could go wrong. So if we know that that's what fear is, how do we overcome fear? It's simple. Number 1, start picturing something different. If that's not what you want, what do you want instead?
Is to go for it. Just say I'm doing it. Don't stop and think, just do it. Instead of imagining what could go wrong, just flow with it and trust. Just do it. That's all I can say. Take a deep breath and do it.
Awesome. What's next for you?
I don't know. I have to give that some thought.
Beautiful.